Yeah.
Can you all hear me? We've heard a lot about the importance of trying to reduce plastics in our babies, but why is the first 1,000 days so important? Well, the first 1,000 days is when the entire body is built, and crucially, it's also when we build our gut microbiome. So a lot of the research that we do at Zoe and that I've been lucky enough to be part of at King's really shows us that within the first 3 years of life, the gut microbiome assembles. And that's important because the way that the gut microbiome assembles basically dictates how our metabolism and how our immune system and how our brain health will develop over the coming years. It's not the only factor, but we have really strong evidence to show that when that is disrupted in early life, it has consequences. And so here we're talking about what happens when we seed this gut microbial garden with plastics alongside it. And I want to be really honest with you, we don't know exactly what's happening, but we know enough about how the gut microbiome assembles, and we know enough about what happens when we disrupt it to take a precautionary principle here and say we really need to reduce the amount of plastics that our babies are ingesting. When babies are born, they are born completely microbiome free, and how they are delivered influences how their gut microbiome starts to assemble, but then what they eat is a really big driver for that. Breastfeeding delivers these special magical sugars that feed the gut microbiome species that are good for us. And we also know that breast milk contains plastic. At the same time, formula milk is prepared in sterilized plastic bottles and can deliver over 16 million microplastics per litre. So we are seeding our lovely babies' microbiomes with the nutrition they need, with human milk oligosaccharides of their breastfed, but we're also seeding them with these plastics, these microplastics, and the plasticizers that come with them. And we just don't know what the effect is going to be of that. What's really important to remember is that when the gut changes, it changes the way our health is shaped. So what we don't want is a disturb of the gut barrier. The gut barrier is really important for the way it interacts with the immune system. What we think might be happening here, as we heard earlier about the phthalates linked to nearly 2 million preterm births, and we also have seen 52 meta-analyses finding consistent links between plastic-associated chemicals and harm across metabolic, endocrine, and developmental outcomes. So whilst we don't have the precise trials that tell us exactly what goes wrong when we have plastics, we have enough data, epidemiological data, to show us that there is an issue we need to tackle. And as Sean said earlier, we need to be super clear here that this is not a parenting issue. The BPA-free dummy that was tested in one study had 11,600 times the safe level of BPA. Just like ultra-processed foods, when they claim high in vitamin D on front of pack, as though that makes them healthy, these BPA-free products are created to sell you something, but it isn't necessarily true, and it will not improve the outcome. So what we need here is action from the government to help make plastic-free options safe and affordable to all families. As Sean said before, we need to switch off the tap. We can't rely on parents to read labels that don't exist on how these chemicals are being exposed to their babies. So, the ask, and I have a very clear ask here, I'm excited to read it out. The government must issue a call for evidence to unite the known science on endocrine disrupting chemicals with industry expertise on safe, affordable plastic alternatives for babies. Because our babies are eating plastic, they're sleeping on plastic, and so they are really living their first 1,000 days surrounded by plastic, which we know isn't good for them.